All right, thank you very much, Madam Clerk and Deputy Clerk. Members of council and members of our staff, thank you for joining us here for the Township of Clearview Council meeting for Monday, April the 14th, 2025. Council did meet in a brief in-camera session at 4:30, and then we were in recess and we've just returned. It's now a little after 5:30, so we'll get going with our regular meeting agenda. I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Tiahuanaco, Wendat, and it's the home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people as part of the intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work towards new understandings and new relationships and ask the Creator for guidance in all that we do. As always, I'm very pleased to be able to say the land acknowledgement as the mayor of this beautiful community, and I do so voluntarily. Council would like to move on. Our agenda did say that we went to in camera at item number 1. So we'll pick up at item number 2, which is approval of the agenda. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the agenda dated April the 14th, 2025 as presented. Mr. Broderick, Mr. MacArthur, thank you very much. Council, any questions? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? It carries unanimous. Thank you. Is there a declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? No declaration. If anything comes up during the meeting, please bring it forward. We'll deal with it immediately and get that straightened around. Council, we do have our public participation period. Council, of course, the public participation period has been amended a little bit, and as a result, I have the script to read here. Be advised that comments and views expressed under public participation period are not the views of the Township of Clearview Council or the administration. Public participation is limited to 15 minutes. Each person is limited to 5 minutes. Comments or questions are to be directed to the mayor, and council shall not refer to, or questions shall not refer to any personnel matters, litigation, or potential litigation, or planning matters that have already had a public meeting, or any item considered confidential. And further questions are to be asked directly from items that are on the agenda of this meeting. And so I read that because we now have our item that came in through the portal. Madam Clerk, can you just confirm we have one that's qualified? Is that correct?
Thank you, Worship. Yes, only one that was qualified.
One question was qualified as being on our agenda. This comes from Mr. Dave Witzka. Mr. Witzka writes, regarding the provincial gas tax rebate, the letter from the province says Clearview will receive $131,252 or 75% by June the 30th, 2025. Yet you state on Clearview logoed stationery that $172,500 is forthcoming. Isn't that jumping the gun? And the transit system losses of $25,000 per month. When will fares be increased to help with ongoing costs? Deficient being funded by 68% of Clearview residents who have no direct access to this service. Mr. Witzka, first of all, yes, we did receive notice about the provincial gas tax rebate. Gas tax rebate program has been in place for many, many years. Gas tax rebate is not all applied to the operational budget. It is applied to the capital budget mostly. All of our buses are pretty much fully paid for through the gas tax program. I believe there is a little bit of reserve money that goes into improve them each year, but at this time, that funding generally goes to that. And I would like to go to our treasurer. I believe, Madam Clerk, the treasurer is on board. Kelly, are you logged in? I think you are. Yes, you are. Hello, Kelly. Kelly is our treasurer. Kelly, perhaps you could help me answer some of these questions in regards to the specifics. Can you outline how we have 75% of it by June the 30th, and yet the total amount is 172? Could you just help clarify that for me?
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe the 172 was the 2024 number. The 131,000 is the amount we'll be receiving for 2025. And we do receive those in installments from through the MTO.
Okay, thank you very much for that. In conversation to research this question, I spoke to the Director of Public Works. The Director of Public Works shares with me that the information that Mr. Witzka is providing here about the losses of 25,000 per month is not in line with what the most recent finance advice is that we have on this. And so I believe, Dan, you're going to help us provide a better number with the Treasury as to what that number actually could be. You just confirm for me that we're going to do that research and confirm that that number is highly inflated that Mr. Witzka is showing.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, certainly we can do a review of what their monthly costs are, both in contract services and what our revenue is from the fares that we receive. Can certainly do that and bring back to council.
Okay. I'd like to just stretch on this topic too, since Mr. Witzka brings it up. Our transit system will be seeing some changes come as we are developing our community, particularly here in Stayner. We're adding a lot more roads, and so as a result, there may be some changes to the way the transit system operates and which buses go on which routes. So I know that we're working on that as well. Is that not right, Dan?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I had committed at budget time that we are going to look at some changes to our transit services, either efficiencies or rerouting. Now that we have some commercial development out the east end to better service that location once it's up and running, that we'll have a fulsome look at all the service that we provide for Stayner.
Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Treasurer, for joining us on this question as well. All right. Thank you, Council. That is all the qualified questions have been submitted, and there are no one in the audience at this time here in the room. So we will move on in our agenda to item number 5, delegations and presentations. There are none. And item 6, public meetings. There are no items. Item number 7 is our council meeting minutes. We do have actually 3 sets of minutes to approve. Be it resolved that council of the Township of Clearview hereby approve the minutes of the March 24th, 2025 council meeting and the March 25, 2025 and April 3rd, 2025 special council meetings as presented. Can I look to Mr. Beelan and Ms. Deneen, if you could move and second that? Thank you. Any questions on those 3 sets of minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? Oh, did you have a question?
I was not in attendance at the April 3rd,
Yes.
so I will not be voting.
Okay, well, you can if you wish, but understood. All right, thank you, Paul, for that acknowledgement. Members of the rest of council, do you have any other questions? All those in favor? That carries. Thank you. All right, number 8 is correspondence and information items. From 8.1, we did have a closed session. There is no report to bring at this time. Now, we do have several items here. 8.2 is the NVCA March Board highlight. And Paul, would you like to speak to that as well as perhaps item number 8.3, which is also the appointment of the new Chief Administrative Officer?
Thank you, Your Worship. 8.3 is the one I want to highlight right now.
Sure.
We have, as most people are aware, our previous CAO retired, and we reached out for our new CAO, and we were very fortunate to have Jennifer Vincent join us, accept our offer, and she brings years of experience in the federal and provincial levels in conservation authorities, and so we're very excited to have her and lead us in our new initiatives and stuff like that. The biggest thing NVCA right now is you'll see from NVCA is all the flood warnings and stuff like that. We're on the same boat together, but they do spend a lot of time monitoring that. And anyways, going forward, we're looking forward to the coming year.
All right, good news. Look forward to meeting the new CAO and work with the board chair as well. Item 4 is the county and partner municipalities continue efforts to support residents in the wake of the ice storm and the storm effects. That was a big deal, and the county has announced at our last county council meeting, which we can just speak about that here, that is there will be an extension on the time period when you can bring storm-related brush to our county landfill sites. There is no fee, but you will be required to go over the scale going in, perhaps not the scale going out if it's busy traffic, but that's really good news that all of our landfill sites are going to continue to operate that. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add a bit to that, Your Worship. It's extended right now until May 30th.
Yes.
And it's all for commercial and private operators. So if you have somebody clearing brush at your property and they head to the dump, they will not be charged. So make it very clear to them, they will not be charging you. We do not charge them at this time.
Yeah, that's because the county operates our landfill sites and provides that service. And of course, all those branches will be turned into mulch,
Yes.
which will be then part of our program there. There's another ice storm update there as well. And then the county also has the tourism, culture, and sport enhancement funding for 63 recipients, which is always good news. And if there's nothing further, we'll go right to item number 8.7. Paul, I'd like to ask you as our deputy mayor and our representative on the NVCA in regards to this motion from the Oromadani regarding the amalgamation.
Thank you.
So go ahead.
With the assistance from the clerk, I approached her in regards to sending a letter of support for the existing or status quo relationship with the NVCA and our community. There was a push by Oromadante to join the Lake Simcoe Regional and with the NVCA. And it's come out unanimously, or basically we have had no opposition or no encouragement to proceed in this manner. And as a show of good faith, I would like our council to hopefully support the same resolution that we maintain a status quo with our conservation authority.
All right. Do we have that resolution for today? We do? Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Worship. It's a little bit more wordier than Deputy Mayor Van Staveren had spoke about, but the motion on the floor, if council is amenable, is that be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receives the separate correspondence from the Township of Oromadante and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority regarding the proposal to amalgamate the MVCA and the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, and that Clearview Township Council recognizes that the MVCA and LSRCA serve distinct and separate watersheds, each with unique ecological, planning, and regulatory considerations, including LSRCA's additional responsibilities under Lake Simcoe Protection Act, and that Clearview Township Council opposes the proposal of amalgamation given that no expert analysis has been provided to move away from a watershed-based conservation authorities, and that Council supports the MVCA Board's continued and enhanced collaboration between Conservation Ontario and other conservation authorities to standardize processes and procedures where feasible, particularly to assist development and permit applicants whose activities fall within the municipalities that straddle these multiple watersheds, and that a copy of this resolution be sent to the MVCA, the Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, and the municipalities located in the MVCA watershed.
All right. Thank you very much for that resolution. Mr. Van Staveren, I'll consider you the mover. I'll put it on the floor looking for a seconder. Deneen, thank you. Councillor Deneen will be the seconder. Anyone want to discuss this? Have any questions or concerns? All right, good. Nothing further. Paul, nothing further? All right.
No, I think it's a great resolution. The big thing for understanding is we are a river-based
Yes.
conservation authority. LSR is a lake-based, and we've got a good thing going. I think we're getting better. We'd like to think we're getting better at what we do. And like was mentioned, there's been no indication of an efficiency of joining, so.
Okay. Members of council, nothing further. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That'll be a unanimous decision of this council. Thank you. All right. By the way, I neglected to advise the public and for the rest of anybody who's watching is that Councillor Walker contacted me late this afternoon to say that he would not be able to attend. He's dealing with a family emergency. And so we hope everything turns out just fine for that, for their family. Council, I'd like to move on to two items that I've had added to our agenda, and that is the Victorian Order of a Nurses Proclamation. It's a proclamation that I'll be honored to sign on your behalf. So I'll read it and I'll look for your input. Whereas the Victorian Order of Nurses of Canada is a charitable community-based healthcare organization that has addressed community health and social needs for 128 years. And whereas the VON, Simcoe County Nurses, home support workers, community service coordinators, and many other staff and volunteers have been caring for the lives and well-being of residents in Clearview since 1990. And VON nurses health promotion and support services make a contribution to the healthcare in Ontario. Therefore, be it resolved, I, Doug Measures, Mayor of the Township of Clearview, hereby proclaim May the 8th to the 24th, 2025 as VON Week here in Clearview Township. Council, if you have so inclined, by show of your hands, just to support this resolution. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. And so this next proclamation is National Volunteer Week. Council, you know how volunteers are very important to me, so I'm very happy to read this, although it is almost 2 pages. So I'll carry on. Proclamation. Whereas 24 million Canadians give their time through formal and informal types of volunteering, contributing close to 5 billion volunteer hours per year. And whereas volunteers in the Township of Clearview mentor our children, support those feeling isolated, beautify our green spaces, and fundraise for our charitable organizations. And whereas volunteers in the Township of Clearview have continued to give their time and talents to support families, friends, neighbors, strangers, people standing up to systemic racism, and people sharing insights on how to create a more equitable society. Whereas Clearview Township volunteers are individuals, families, workers, retirees, community members of all ages and backgrounds. And whereas the collective result of the work done by our township volunteers is that Clearview Township is a more desirable place to live. And whereas volunteers within the Township of Clearview perform many different roles, including community beautification program and event support, coaching local sports, and delivering meaningful services to those in need. Whereas organizations in Clearview Township that rely on volunteers, each fundamental organization as service clubs, Clearview Township boards and committees, sports, culture, and heritage organizations, churches, business associations, and other community services. Now, therefore, I, Doug Measures, Mayor of the Township of Clearview, do hereby proclaim April the 27th to May the 3rd as National Volunteer Week and urge my fellow citizens to recognize the crucial role played by volunteers in our community. Council, if you're so inclined, would you show your support for this proclamation by showing your hand? Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and as you know, I appreciate volunteers very much. I know that our clerk has been working on our volunteer appreciation event that's coming up in a month or so. So good for you. Your clerk's department and recreation staff are working together. Is that right? Thank you very much for that. All right, council, we're going to move on to our, if there's nothing further in the reports, there's nothing. So we'll go to our council reports, community announcements, ward reports. We're going to start with Mr. Beelan is up first. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Your Worship. Since Moose isn't here, I've got 2 pages instead of 1. March 30th, I was at the Good Roads Conference, and I have good news and bad news for Ward 5. The good news is County Road 10 is going to be repaired this summer. The bad news is it's going to affect your travel times. April 2nd, the Climate Action Committee had a meeting. We're going to be supporting Earth Day, which is April 22nd, at Eco Park with a tent set up there. April 7th, I was at the Be a Donor flag raising event, and it makes me always check my card to see if I'm a donor or not, because I can never remember, and yes, I am a donor. April 11th, the Sports and Culture Hall of Fame met. The nominations are closed, and I'm looking forward to a good banquet in June. And finally, the Georgian Triangle Anglers Association asked me to read this. They had extensive damage done to its building, the hatchery, the roof from snow load, and other damage from fallen trees, and they're looking for donations, which they get from memberships. Membership is actually a donation. It's $50. They've had a whole bunch of new members join. They're still looking for more. They did just release 20,000 speckled trout into the streams that run through Clearview, so look for better angling. And they also host a spring trout derby, April 19th to May 3rd, and those details are online. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to the volunteers who run the Georgian Triangle Anglers. Good job. Good job. Councillor Janine.
Thank you, Your Worship. So tomorrow night, if anyone's interested, Duntroon Hall, their meeting will be held at Duntroon Hall at 7 PM. If anybody wanted to come out and check that out. The Nottawa Hall, I've had two inquiries this week as to whether or not our scrap metal drive would be coming back this year. Well, I'm happy to report the bin was delivered this morning and just donate away. Just drop all your metal off. It's great. We really appreciate it. Library days. They were going to do it on Easter Sunday. They're in the calendar, the library calendar, but they've had second thoughts about that. And the next library day at the Nottawa Hall will be Sunday, May 4th from 9 to 11. We're also looking for more volunteers for the hall board. So if there's anyone out there that feels they would be wanting to do some community service and volunteer with us, we are a great bunch of three with our legislative coordinator. So the deadline, there is something posted for with a deadline of May 2nd to volunteer for our board. Shannon Pearl is looking after that. She's our new legislative coordinator for committees and boards. Her email address, if you have any questions, is spearl@clearview.ca. And we would really appreciate some more volunteers helping out. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter indeed. And good job on the metal drive. I know that's a great partnership that we have set up, and that's a really good program. People are doing their spring cleaning. They can get rid of that old barbecue that they didn't want, put it in the bin. It helps the hall. Paul, would you like to go next?
I can. First event, I think Marty missed on his discussion. We went to the 3-on-3 hockey tournament. You weren't there? Oh, I thought you were there. My apologies. Mr. MacArthur was there, I believe. Yes. So the mayor and myself and Mr. MacArthur were between Creemore and Stainer presenting the sweaters and stuff. And it was a very successful event again. And kudos to all our staff and people who volunteered. Terry, you know who they all are. And it was a pleasure to be there and represent our community. April 7th, we did do the being a donor flag raising, and that picture was in the Creemore Echo this week. So it was nice to see the crowd that we had and the diversity of the crowd that we did have as well. April 8th, we had the county meeting, and it was fairly calm and quiet, so that was good. April 11th, we did do the Culture and Sports Hall of Fame awards, so they're coming down. And this past Saturday, the Simcoe County Federation of Agriculture held a safety participation day at Huron Tractor. So the mayor and myself were both down there, and there was 100 kids from both from the farming community and local communities there. They had to cap it. They still had 20 kids who wanted to come, but they capped it at 100. It was just phenomenal. It was, all the kids running around. We saw some of the 4-H clubs out assisting, which was nice. It's a full community event, and it just keeps growing and growing. So thank you to Huron Tractor for hosting it, and thank you to the Federation of Agriculture for facilitating it. And that would be it for today.
It was a great event. It was an honor to be there and see that, and all the partners that supported keeping people safe on farms. I think that was a great thing, Paul.
And it was one interesting thing. We went down there, and the OPP was there, and Constable Mike was there.
Yes, Mike
And
Osborne.
Mike
yeah.
Osborne, who's one of our community liaison people, and he brought a constable from Nottawasaga. We try and work with our neighbors. They are now trying to break down barriers so that it's not Nottawasaga versus this area, Collingwood or Huronia. So the lady that was there, I think she really appreciated realizing how much interaction we have. So it was really nice to see the OPP reaching out and trying to diversify their relationship.
Agreed, 100%. Thank you. Robert MacArthur.
Thank you, Your Worship. I try to avoid Huron. It usually costs me money when I go through it. I'll start March 26th. We had another Streetscapes Committee meeting for Creemore plans there and a lot of good ideas still coming forth, and we'll have another meeting, I think, next week, or no, this Wednesday already. It comes around quick. March 31st to April 2nd, went to Good Roads. Got a couple of good ideas there. They had a couple of really qualified speakers on the engineering side of things, which was very valuable. April 3rd, Evening Hall. Glad to see that it's moving along steadily, progressively. So we're still aiming for to be open hopefully midsummer. At the latest, April 5th, like the deputy said, joined him and the mayor on the opening of the 3-on-3 in Creemore. April 9th, we had a committee of adjustment meeting. And then just with regards to the whole scenario of the ice storm in the last 2 weeks, I think I heard somebody say that our fire department received 60 calls for service over that time frame. And I'd just like to give a shout out to them and the roads department for all the work that they did through that ice storm. And it's on the agenda. We'll be just discussing a little more later in the meeting. That's all for now.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, we will talk about that a little bit more with our staff. But as always, our staff stepped up to really help when the community needed it the most. And we got our roads opened and they remained safe. And the hydro crews did everything they could. So thank you very much for bringing those points forward. Councillor Broderick.
Thank you, Your Worship. March 30th to April 1st, I attended the Good Roads Conference in Toronto. April the 3rd, attended the Clearview Council closed session. Also on the 3rd, Rhonda and I took part in the Clearview Chamber of Commerce Country Line Dancing Training Session. Yeah, at the Clearview Community Hall in Stayner. And I didn't break anybody's toes or trip
We just-
anybody.
You and Rhonda are still speaking.
We're still speaking.
Good. I'm glad
Yeah,
to hear that.
Yeah. April the 13th, attended the Central Ontario ATV Club's AGM and elections. And I'm proud to announce that COA TV now has 3 ladies on their 9-member board of directors.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and one of the 2-member founder reps is also a lady. I thought that was pretty cool. And tomorrow is the Clearview Library Board meeting, and also the Clearview Chamber of Commerce regular members meeting is tomorrow night.
Excellent. John, I want to mention the gathering that we had at Huron Tractor. The ATV club were there. The kids were quite interested to talk to some of the volunteers, and they noted that wearing helmets, of course, is the most important part. And youth helmets, they talked about youth helmets are obviously different than adult helmets. So it was really good to see them part of that. That whole session was all about safety in the community. So I thought it was well done, John. Thank you. All right, council, I got a couple of quick items. Oh, yes, please, Marty, go right ahead, and then I'll go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hakuna Matata, Paul. I was at the Lion King in Toronto.
Oh, Hakuna Matata. It's a wonderful thing.
Especially when the power went out on one of the shows, not yours, but one of them. Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
go ahead.
Councillor Beelan, I just out of interest, there's a couple of roads I know county is talking about upgrading County Road 10. Are they looking at upgrading it to a full use road?
What do you mean by full use?
Not
yeah, what
a
do
half
you mean by
load,
that?
half load road designation.
I'm not sure. The girl from the county didn't ask me. Perhaps you see her more often than I do at the
I
county
know,
meeting.
throw back a
We
dam.
hardly ever see her.
Um,
So-
Here.
You
She
saw
was
her at
just
Good
there
Roads,
and
though,
it was brought out that they're going to dig it up and resurface the whole thing rather than doing the chip coat. So
All right.
We'll have to watch for that.
We will.
It'd be kind of nice to get that road because it's definitely a main supply
Exactly, yeah.
commuter road. So
Yep.
Yeah.
it'd be kind of nice to keep it full
We'll
load.
see
they
if the
build it.
county's.
apparently there are other roads other than County Road 10 that also had the chip coat lift up. One was Horseshoe Valley Road and there's one other one in Simcoe County. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. A couple things I want to mention, council. First of all, well done, our recreation department and tourism staff. The 3-on-3 tournament was once again, well delivered. It was seamless. The partnership with the youth center and the library and our arenas and our arena staff, it was just great. It turned out really, really good. All of the parents that I spoke to in the lobbies, and I did my best to walk around and chit chat with people. They were quite impressed. And on the jerseys, of course, I was very impressed. For the first time, we saw the professional women's hockey jersey there. It was there, the Scepters. That was impressive. And so that was a nice little add, I thought, to the tournament, Terry. And so all the best to your staff on that. And for the community, we should all recognize that this is a really well-done event, and it's very unique, and it's Clearview's own, a 3-on-3 tournament that's held right here. And these hockey kids and families want to be at this event. It is a really great event. So good job. You want something else you want to say?
I just want
Because
to
I
say,
got a whole thing. Bunch
well, I
of
just
things
want to say about the hockey tournament. The only complaint I had was on some of the refereeing from a certain referee.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, Terry, I didn't see you there.
oh. I don't think there was any penalties hardly at all. Anyway, I do have a few more items I'd like to go through if I can. The Be a Donor flag raising. Thank you to all who came out to that and supported that. It continues to be an important item for me and my family. I very much appreciate the ongoing support the township has shown towards it. I do acknowledge that one of the things that's important for us to remember about our firefighters, and that is that you know, the life they save when they're at a tragedy at a scene may not be the person that they're actually working on. It's so important for our fire crews to remember, and they know this, to, you know, get that person to the hospital as fast as they possibly can, remove them from a vehicle or whatever tragedy is happening, and help in any way they can to get them in the hands of people who can make those decisions that move the Be a Donor program forward. And so it's always sort of significant to me that we hold the flag raisings out there at the fire hall, but it is about the work that firefighters do. So I'm pleased about that. Thank you very much. Council, I did represent Clearview Township at a beautiful event, which is held every year on April the 9th. Base Borden holds an annual Vimy Recognition Day. Paul, I think you've joined me at it in the past. What a terrific event it was again this year. It was very cold, as you know, that day was cold, but the sun came out. And our local bugler, who is actually from Wasaga Beach area, Tony, what's his name? Berenstein? Tony, no, not Berenstein, that's not his name. Anyway, Tony, great fella. He's standing there bugling. I just want you to visualize this for a minute. It's the most beautiful thing. He's bugling and he finishes the last post and it's quiet and we're all waiting in that 2 minutes of silence. And a blue jay calls out to him. It was the most beautiful thing. And then suddenly the blue jay flew down and landed right on the top of the helmet that's sitting on top of the rifle that's part of the, you know, and looks right at our bugler. And then he raises his bugle to play the reveille and the bird flew off squawking again. It was just amazing. It was just one of those amazing moments. So beautiful event. If any members of council ever want to go to this, you let me know. Okay? I can definitely get you on the invitation list. Happy to have you there. April the 9th. Put it in your calendar. So the last thing I want to mention is a surprise announcement that was popped on many mayors across Ontario was the Strong Mayor Powers announcement. So Clearview Township was acknowledged as one of the communities that will have the Strong Mayor Powers. And so as your mayor, I took this very seriously and read as much as I could about it, made some phone calls, talked to some mayors who currently have the Strong Mayor Powers activated. Did some more research to determine that the order in council will be signed after April the 16th. And so then the lieutenant governor will sign it and then it'll come into play somewhere around May the 1st. That's what they're aiming for. And I just want to put it right on the record so everybody knows that the Strong Mayor Powers will be activated in Clearview Township while I'm the mayor. It is up to the mayor to decide that, but I believe that we will have them in place. And I think that we will use them at our best ability to move the community forward. And I've also committed in the media, and I'll commit it right to all of you as councillors, that I will always consult with you before said announcement of any decisions that come from the mayor's office. You'll have a consultation with me. The clerk may be chagrined to hear that I might just have conversations with councillors. But in the end, the point is that, well, you don't need to cover your ears because the point is the decision is only being made by the mayor. It's not being made by council. So it is only a one person's decision when those type of decisions get made. My point to you as counselors and elected officials here in Clearview, you're going to hear from me and I'll look for your input before I ever render any type of decisions. Okay? So that's my partnership agreement with you guys. And so I'm definitely going to be working with our CAO, and I'm going to be working very closely with our senior management team. And I know that there'll be some great announcements coming forward out of this whole process. It is an evolution in how the province of Ontario sees municipal governments moving forward. And so I'm looking forward to it. And I think that, if you really consider this is 2025, folks, and things need to change, it takes forever to get anything done. And so if we can do our best to, expedite decisions and to move things along in such a way that it moves the community forward, then that's the better. So that's where I feel on that. And so I'd be happy to discuss it with anybody one-on-one. But I'm also, a person who's going to be learning a lot more about this. And I know that our clerk is going to put together a workshop session for us all. So I would invite members of council and members of the senior staff to pay attention to that special workshop, which will be held as soon as we have all the data together. So as soon as we have it together, the clerk and I will put something together and we'll have a meeting. Looking forward to it. I'll take any questions if anybody has any thoughts on it right now. You got any things? No? Okay. We're all good. Let's move on, council, in our agenda, and we'll move directly to department reports, finance, provincial gas tax agreement. We have a letter of agreement here, and so the recommendation says, be it resolved that council of the township of Clearview hereby receive report FIN 007-2025 provincial gas tax agreement dated April the 14th, 2025. And item 1, that a bylaw to enter in a letter of agreement with His Majesty the King in right of the province of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Transportation and authorizes the mayor and clerk to sign the letter of agreement on behalf of the Township of Clearview be presented at the April the 14th, 2025 meeting for approval. Okay, mover and seconder. Where are we going? Deneen, thank you. And Broderick, thank you very much. Finance Department, Kelly, do you want to speak to this a little bit? Is there anything you want to add?
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't know that there's anything I really need to add. This is the annual report we do so that we can sign the agreement and accept the funds for transit.
All right, I'll look to council members. Is there anybody who has any questions they'd like to ask? Yes, go ahead.
Point of clarity then through Your Worship. Kelly, it said the sample letter, whatever, was dated 2017. Was that supposed to be 2024 or is this just being changed from 17 till 25?
Nice catch. Kelly?
Yeah, it should be 2025.
Or 2024?
These are for the 2025 funding.
Right. But didn't I read somewhere where it said originally it was in 2017?
That's originally when council decided to accept the gas tax agreements. This program runs, they call it 2024, 2025, but the funding does come in for the 2025 calendar year.
So it's a yearly thing then?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions to this report? Okay, council. Thank you, Kelly. Council, you've got a motion in front of you. I'm prepared to call. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Kelly, the next item is FIN 008, Development Agreement Financial Securities Policy. Okay. Recommendation, be it resolved, Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report FIN 008-2025, Development Agreement Financial Securities Policy dated April the 14th, 2025. Item 1, the council approved the Development Agreement Financial Securities Policy attached as Schedule A to this report. And item 2, council authorized the Director of Finance Treasurer to make any future amendments to this policy as amended. Members of council, look for a mover. Mr. MacArthur, thank you. Mr. Beelan, would you second that? Well done. Thank you. Kelly, do you want to outline anything additional on this?
Thank you, Your Worship. Not so much additional. It's just prior to this regulation, the only thing that the township accepted was either cash or letters of credit. with the province setting in this new regulation, surety bonds are now permitted as a security. So we wanted to get a policy in front of council that outlined templates for what we use and to it basically outline what is an acceptable security deposit.
Okay. Members of council, any questions? Yes, Mr. MacArthur?
Yeah, just in regard to the policy, then a lot of clauses and whatnot in there. I assume this has all been looked at by our lawyers to make sure it's what we need.
But through your
Pretty
worship
sure.
to Councillor MacArthur, yes, it has been vetted through our lawyers.
All right, thank you very much. Any other members of council? Any other members? I'll have a quick question. Ms. Treasurer, the last item here, of course, which says council authorize the director of finance treasurer to make any future amendments to this policy as necessary. Can I ask, would you then be reporting to council any of these changes?
Thank you, Worship. Great question. It would depend on the type of change. If, for example, the OREG was suddenly revoked and surety bonds were no longer acceptable, I'd most certainly do a report back to council. Probably wording on the templates. I'm not sure that I'd want to burden council with that if we got updated, better verbiage for the templates themselves.
Okay. I'm just thinking it's sort of as a general policy of municipal governments that the clerk has the ability to make any sort of corrections in any of our spelling mistakes or, you know, misplacement of words or amended words, or as was pointed out a minute ago, the word 2027 instead of, or 2017 versus 2025. So, I mean, is this the type of thing that that you foresee that you'll be looking for, or if you'll be making sort of policy changes to the direction? I think that council should hear about a policy change.
Thank you, Worship. Excellent question. It's not so much a policy change that would come through the finance office. It's more of, as I said, a template change. If there was any overwhelming change to the policy itself, that would obviously come back to council.
Okay. Well, I would suggest, council, we always work through the CAO on these type of things. So as long as you communicate with your CAO, and we'll be comfortable with that. Does that sound fair? Okay. All right. Thank you, council. Oh, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Worship. If we could ease council's mind, we could add in here a friendly amendment that said make any future minor amendments to the policy as necessary. So any major ones come to council.
All right. You're thinking of a minor as in under make any future minor amendments to the policy as necessary? Mover and seconder, are you comfortable with a friendly amendment? And again, there's your clerk at work right there, coming up with a good word to solve this problem. Thank you. All right, we'll consider it as amended. And if there's nothing further, members of council, we've got a motion as amended. I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. All right. Thank you, Kelly. We're going to move over to Public Works. Dan and Patty, I think you're here. Yes. Hi, Patty. Normally you sit over there. You're over there. Okay, good. We got you. All right. Subdivision pre-servicing for the Mowat Street Road Improvement Works Agreement. Okay. I'm glad to see this one here on the table. Be it resolved that council receive report PW 007-2025, the subdivision pre-servicing and Mowat Street Road Improvement Works Agreement, amending agreement number 1 for Lamont Creek realignment works dated April the 14th, 2025. And item 1, that a bylaw be presented at the April 14, 2025 council meeting authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute the amending agreement for the Lamont Creek realignment works with the estates of Clearview Inc. and McPherson Builders, Stainer Limited. And item 2, that the amending agreement be registered to the title of the lands to the satisfaction of the township. Okay. Who could move that? Mr. Broderick, thank you. Mr. Deputy Mayor, thank you. All right, Public Works. I'm very glad to see that this is here in front of us. Dan or Patty? Patty, who wants it? Patty. Okay. Patty, I'm very glad to see this on here. Is there anything you want to add to the comments that are in the report?
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't think so. The report's pretty straightforward. I'd be happy to take any questions that council may have, though.
All right. Members of council, do you have any questions? Yes, Pete or Paul? Paul, go ahead.
Thank you. I see they've got the work already complete for the Lamont Creek realignment.
Yep.
My question, Patty, would be on the other end, that we've had discussions about Mowat and Highway 26 / Superior Street intersection. Any word on that one coming through?
Thank you, through your worship, to the deputy mayor. Yeah, so the Mowat Street and the Superior Mowat intersection works have been broken into 2 projects. The township has taken over the intersection design. Burnside staff is currently working on that. And the developer's consultant, Croziers, are working on the works from, pardon me, from just north of Weir Street to the northerly limits of the subdivision lands, and the design for the urbanization falls to them for that.
So, thank you. So that would mean that we will see something coming forward this season still?
Thank you again, through your worship. Yes, for both of them, I expect to see detailed design come through. I think correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, we've already seen one submission of the Mowat Street itself from Croziers. We've provided comments back to them on that, and they're working through those comments.
That's good. I know we had a meeting out there a couple of years ago about it, and it sort of, we weren't happy, I guess, or the council wasn't happy with some of the recommendations, but I think it sounds like you've worked those out. And I'll let
Dan,
that-
go ahead.
Yeah, if I might just add, your worship, that I anticipate, if the detailed design gets complete, utility relocation will hopefully start this year in 2025. That's my goal, is to have them relocate. There's a gas main there that has to be relocated. The water main doesn't, I think it's basically the gas main that has to be relocated further east from where it is now. So we're hoping that gets done. And then once that's out of the way, then the construction, once approved or once it's accepted by the municipality, that work can get underway, most likely 2026.
Good, thank you.
All right, that's good news. Thank you, Patty, for all your work on this one. It's good to see this one finally get here in front of us. Thank you, Dan. Oh, sorry, was there another question? Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Your Worship. This probably goes to Patty. I'm looking at Appendix 2, page 9. It says 3.9 damage and debris. The owner covenants agrees. It goes blah, blah, blah. Basically, if they wreck something, the municipality can tell them it needs to be repaired and restored immediately. So I'm just wondering if you could explain what kind of bite we have, how many teeth we can use to actually get them to do that. I just don't want to see the roads go beyond the schedule that they're taking. Like, obviously, we inspect it or something, right? So how do we force them to do things to our satisfaction?
Through your worship, to Councillor Beelan, I'm not quite sure what your question is with regards, like, is it with regards to the timing to get the works done, or?
Well, this section says, the lands shall be kept in good and usable repair and condition. And if, in the sole opinion of the municipality, such municipal lands and buildings and structures are damaged in any way by the owner or parties employed by the owner, such municipal lands and buildings and structures will be repaired or restored immediately to the satisfaction of the municipality. So I'm just wondering, how do we get them to do that if they wreck something or destroy something? Or I'm assuming that's if they tear something up too, right?
Sorry, again, through your worship. So yeah, so we would first off request the developer consultant to rectify the issues. We have securities in place to pull securities and do the works ourselves, should they not, within the time frame that we feel sufficient, address the problem.
Okay. So we can't actually bite them and make them do anything immediately then?
Well, you can. It's just a matter of,
Yeah.
who has the resources available to deploy them immediately. And so Patty's point, we do have financial, holdbacks.
Leverage
that
over
are-
them somehow? Okay.
Yeah. So-
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further? All right. Good discussion. Thank you. Good questions. And council, I'm prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, Planning and Building Department, we do have the Estates of Clearview again on here for the lift of hold. There's lift happening on some of their lands. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PB 012-2025, the Estates of Clearview dated April 14, 2025. Item 1, Council approved that a bylaw regarding the partial lifting and removal of the hold symbol H31 to permit a restaurant, including a drive-through restaurant, on the municipal lands known as 100 Grand Trunk Road, be presented to council for execution once registration of the site plan amending agreement for the Estates of Clearview is completed to the satisfaction of the municipality. Deneen, thank you very much. And Broderick, thank you very much. All right, the planning department, Roz, would you like to speak to this?
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, council members. Staff are being asked, staff are asking council to consider a partial lift and removal of the hold symbol H31 to permit a restaurant, including a drive-through restaurant on the lands known as 100 Grand Trunk Road. It's a partial lifting since the hold symbol 31 will continue to remain on the property to restrict another use, which is a hotel. You will be aware that there are other commercial buildings taking form on this property. These other uses include a Foodland and a Dollarama, which is the largest building on the property and which is what we call Building 1. There's also an LCBO taking form, and this is what we call Building 2. And the final building, which is what we call Building 3, will house the restaurant and drive-through, which will become a McDonald's. So work on this file and on this property has been ongoing and includes all types of planning applications, which have required detailed planning and engineering review. And staff are currently processing a site plan approval that will amend an existing site plan agreement and site plan. This agreement is currently being drafted, and there remains outstanding planning and engineering issues that relate to the site plan approval. It's for this reason that staff are asking council to consider approval of the bylaw to partially remove the hold symbol H31 once the site plan amending agreement has been executed. And once that agreement has been executed, staff will bring this draft bylaw forward for council's approval. And I'm here for any additional questions.
All right, thank you. Members of council, do you have any questions about this report? Yes, go right ahead, Paul.
Thank you. I've seen before in the past, we've had some signs up here with the golden arches on them at the other end of town. Once we've approved this, is it set in stone that these businesses will be coming to this community? Or is it something that can be changed still in terms of the type of restaurant or anything like that?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and through the mayor. So site plans and zoning are pretty generic in terms of saying a restaurant. And so in terms of tenant occupancy, that can certainly change at any time. The site and the building and the site plan agreement will look at a drive-through. It is obviously tailored towards a McDonald's use, and we know how franchises sort of covenant their types of buildings and their look. But yes, by all means, the site will be open to the uses that are permitted and may require minor amendments to the site plan in the future if tenants change. But the idea is that it's meant to be, sort of.
Oh, no, that's fine.
open.
I just see, when I see these architects put these golden arches on the site plans, and I was reading that the other day, I'm thinking, here we go. But anyways, no, so it is open for change if we need to, but anyways, okay, thank you.
That's actually a good question because it could be anything, but they are aiming it to be a McDonald's because they've been speaking about that at length, that it being a McDonald's, so. But
we saw.
business is business and franchise do disagree, and so who knows?
Well, we saw it at the sign that was up beside the beer store.
Yes.
For how many years had the golden arches on it too. And it's like, people are all excited and it's like, okay, hold on a second here.
Yeah.
When they come, they come. But anyways, we'll
I remember a time when there was a sign about where the Dairy Queen is. There was a sign that said McDonald's there at one time. So anyway, anybody else with any other questions in regards to this? Okay, would anybody like any fries with that? Council, we have our motion in front of us with mover and seconder. I am prepared to call the motion. All those in favor? That carries unanimous. All right. Moving on to page number 6, and we have our Recreation Department in regards to the purchase of a tractor. Okay. All right, Terry's here, and so I'll read the recommendation. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report PCR 005-2025, purchase of a utility compact tractor with attachments, and it's dated April the 14th, 2025. Item 1, that Council approve the purchase of a new Kubota. And it's an L5460 HSTCC 56 horsepower tractor with front loader bucket, inverted snow blower, hydraulic sweeper, and snow pusher attachments in the amount of $88,612.85 plus HST. Item 2, that council approve the purchase of the Reist Infielder Ball Diamond Groomer in the amount of $5,912 plus HST. Okay, mover and seconder on this motion. Is there a mover? Mr. Broderick, thank you. And seconded by Mr. MacArthur. We'll take that seconder, thank you. And Terry, would you like to speak about your Kubota purchase?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. If Council recalls, as part of the 2025 budget deliberations, the department put forward the request for this type of tractor to be used across Clearview Township. An attachment that was excluded from this purchase was also the forks that you would use for skids, like removals from transports. We already have that in stock that we've had from a previous tractor, so it's compatible with this tractor as well. I just want to remind Council that this is 100% funded through the development charge program that we have with our policy. And lastly, with respect to the 2 dealers that we have locally, they were great dealers to work with, and they were able to provide the specs that we had requested. With that, I'm available for any questions that Council may have.
All right, members of Council, do you have any questions to the tractor purchase? And or the Reist infielder ball? Yes, go ahead, Paul.
No, I just want to comment in on it a bit because as Terry alluded to, both suppliers are very good suppliers that we have. The one thing that I think, Terry, is very important, you and I had a bit of a discussion, I want people to know, our Parks and Rec department will complement our Works department in able to do snow and stuff around our buildings, our own buildings. So this is a win-win for everybody, and I hope we get good use out of it. There's definitely a need for it, and the ability to move it between our different communities will be looked at as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I see Councillor Beelan has a question.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's more of a comment than a question. I had a whole bunch of questions for Terry this afternoon, and he's answered most of them. One of them was this Reist Infielder D72 is actually made in Elora. So it's Canadian made. There was one other one called a Bannerman Diamond Master, a very similar machine. The only difference between the two that I can see is this Reist machine has a broom and rake holder. And now you wonder, well, what's so big about that? There is a course you can take for diamond maintenance. And when you take that course, you find out that there's a few things that have to be done manually. And I know a few ball diamonds that use the Bannerman Diamond Master. And when they're asked, well, why didn't you do this? Well, the broom's kept in that house way, way over there, and I'm here, so it doesn't get done. So at least this has the broom and rake holder that they can have the tools they need right with them when they're doing this. So I've done a bit of investigations into this. The course that you can go on, Terry's assured me that we're sending 2 people on it. So I think this is a good thing.
It's great. Maybe we should send you on the course too. There you go. Terry, do you have any other comments?
No, not this time, Your Worship.
All right, I have a question, and that is regards to the, we have a couple of trailers that we own in the Recreation Department. This tractor will mount on this trailer if necessary, and our trucks will be able to tow it, like we're going to be within weight.
Thank you, Your Worship. for the trailer perspective, we're still looking at perhaps upgrading one of our trailers that we have. Now that we know the specs of the tractor that we have, we can explore that option. And for the truck, yes, absolutely. We do have an F-250 that has arrived from our enterprise program.
Good.
And it'll be stickered next week, and it'll be ready to be able to tow this tractor.
I was hoping we were going to get to moving into the 250s, actually, to be honest. I was hoping that that was where we were going. So I'm glad to hear that. Certainly the capabilities of the truck to pull that trailer with that weight on it would be something that we'd have to, put in the hands of our capable drivers. So.
Yep. And we also have 3 DZ operators in our fleet of staff.
Perfect.
So they're fully qualified. Not that it's really required, depending on the weight.
Yeah.
But we do have the competent staff on hand to be able to tow that as well.
That's excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. I guess that 250 will also be used to move some of those washroom trailers as well, because they're pretty significant too.
Okay, correct.
Right on. Thank you. All right. Good discussion on the tractor and the infield diamond groomer. And I look forward to seeing Councillor Beelan operate the broom. Anybody have any further questions? Seeing none, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. All right, legislative services. Okay, this is a good one here, folks. This is community assistance grants. Our team of community assistance grants volunteers have put this together. That being the deputy mayor, Councillor Deneen, and our deputy clerk. So I'm really happy with their work. The recommendation says, be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 007-2025, the 2025 Community Assistance Grant and Sponsorship Program Intake 1, and dated April the 14th, 2025. Item 1 is that Council approve the distribution of the 2025 Community Assistance Grant and Sponsorship First Intake as outlined in Appendix A of this report. Now, I would say that that would be Krista, but Madam Clerk, is you good with letting anybody on our clerk or on our team talk about this? Is that right? Go ahead, Madam Deputy.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. The only thing that I would like to point out in this is that we had a record-breaking amount of applications.
Yeah.
We had 29 applications received for this intake, so that was very exciting. I'm not sure if Deputy Mayor or Councillor Deneen wants to add anything.
Yeah. Okay, before we go on, I'll just look for a mover and seconder to be clear. Broderick and Beelan, thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
I'll let Phyllis go first.
Oh, Phyllis, you're up first. Listen, it's such a great committee. You should see them work. They're amazing, these three. They are.
And it was a great opportunity to work together. We had some difficult decisions to make this year because the monies asked well exceeded our ability within our budget, so we had to work with it. So congratulations to those that we will presumably approve today. The one thing that's very important to us, and our deputy clerk has really recognized it, that we will be looking, instead of just mailing out checks, we will be looking at presenting checks, and we are looking to people when they use their money, especially in functions, that they will be identifying that the money is coming from the Township of Clearview through the support of our Grant and Sponsorship Committee. So I'll ask Phyllis if you would like to add to anything else, Phyllis?
No, that about covers it. We just, the accountability, we're going to step up a little bit on our accountability and our branding. When we're giving out this many sponsorships and assistance grants. And yeah, I think we did a pretty good job of spending the money we had. So, and there is still a little bit there for the second intake. So we can work with that. We can work with what we had. And we looked back at previous years and we negotiated between the three of us and we managed to do a really good job.
Thank you, Worship. How many years has this grant system been in place? Because it seems like it's getting more and more grants. Is it because word's getting out, or why is that?
I don't know how many years, but I'm going to say it's probably 15 years, perhaps 15, maybe more. To be honest, this is all about helping organizations in our community as they provide services that impact our community, and they're services that are generally not something that we do as a municipality.
So
Right,
there's more
which is-
services being provided. too.
Yeah, but these are
Okay.
services that help people in our community. So that's sort of the overall focus as to why the grant program is in place. It also, honestly, I think the clerk will support this, is that it's great that it's happening all at once, and the fact that we get an intake program so we can manage how we do it. Otherwise, you'd be seeing these at every single meeting, someone asking. So I think the grant program was designed in such a way that it lets people know that they should apply through the intakes, and participate in that, and then that way we can pass it. Going back to our budget, of course, at the budget time, we set the amount that's in this account that we can access, and it has seen some bump ups in previous terms of council. I'm trying to think, I can think of at least 2 that we participated in. Maybe there's been a few more. Yeah, and we did a carryover too. Anything we had surplus, we were able to move that into this account for the next year. So that does help us grow this account. So it's a good program. Any other members with any questions? Or I didn't mean to dominate there. Okay. And to the deputy clerk, you're comfortable with the way this whole thing is laid out? You're going to be able to communicate with all of the recipients, and we can look forward to doing some check presentations. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. I'm not sure if maybe we need to amend the motion to have a check presentation here at council, or no, the clerk's saying no.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Worship. I think it's a great idea, and it publicly advertises the different associations and groups and organizations that are receiving funding, and maybe encourage other groups to do the same and to share some of their stories. So I think it's great that we come to council, that we don't need an amendment on the motion. We'll just make sure that we plan that for an upcoming meeting.
Sure. Thank you. I think that's a great idea. All right. So thank you, members of council, for this. We do have a mover and seconder, and the conversation's been good. I'll call this motion. All in favor? And that carries unanimous. And I would ask also that we should always keep in mind that there is a second intake in 2025. And to our committee members, do we know that intake dates? Krista?
Yep, thank you, through you, your worship. We'll start advertising in the beginning of August, and the intake period runs from September 1st to September 30th.
There you go. So the month of September is the second intake period for other groups. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your work on this. Okay, we're going to move to our short-term accommodation and licensing report. Now, you've heard me speak about our multiple departments working together. This is one of them. This is a really great example of our departments all working together. Thank you to the clerk's department for leading this. So I'm going to read this report, but I want to acknowledge that there's a lot of input from a lot of members of our staff who have put this together. Be it resolved, the Council of the Township of Clearview hereby receive report LS 008 2025, the short-term rental accommodation licensing next steps, dated April the 14th, 2025, for information. Now, I'll look for a mover and seconder to put this on the floor. Mr. MacArthur, and I will look for Madam Deneen. Okay, we're going to put that on the floor. Again, I said that this was multiple departments. We'll start with the clerk's department. This is about building a program for community engagement. So let's talk about that.
Thank you, Worship, through you to the rest of council. So since February, when council made the decision for us to start investigating and drafting a licensing bylaw and program, we kind of hit the ground running. We've had multiple meetings with our group of department people, and we were able to come up with some next steps at high level and give an idea to the public and council when they can see those types of key items. So the first one is our survey that we're looking to put out in the upcoming weeks, have it out there for about a 3-week period. You'll notice that it's not a lengthy survey because we're trying to narrow in on what people's concerns or opportunities are with short-term rentals. That will help us kind of drill down in drafting a bylaw over the summer months. We'll use neighboring bylaws from other municipalities to see some of their hot topic items. We imagine there'll be similar ones, but there could be some Clearview unique ones that we haven't considered, which we're hoping the survey will help bring those type of items out. And then the draft bylaw will be hopefully ready for the beginning of fall for council workshop and consultation, public open house, as well as invitational consultation with specific stakeholders. Through that process, we're hoping to also be developing our MAT program, which would be a separate bylaw, and considerations of where to use funds for that, and what type of company we would use to facilitate the MAT on the township's behalf. And we're hoping that by spring 2026, we do have a bylaw that's approved, but comes into effect January 1st, 2027, to really hit the ground running with getting the information of what STRs are operating, giving them examples of the different rules and regulations and inspections that we'll be doing to get them prepared that they're ready to be licensed coming into the new year. So it's a lot of public education at that point. And our next steps will also be engaging the building department and the fire department on the types of things they want to see in the bylaw regarding inspection wise. So a lot of moving parts here. We're also going through a zoning bylaw review, which that will also cover a small portion about short-term rentals in the effect that if there's a regulation bylaw, a licensing bylaw, that will be the driver there. It's not going to be enforced through the zoning bylaw the way it currently is. So this is at a high level an update to council, and I'd be happy to answer questions or any of the other staff members who are privy to this report.
Okay, let's go to questions and then we'll see if other staff members want to jump in. Anybody got any questions on this great process? Go ahead, Phyllis.
It's more of a comment. I'm
Sure.
just glad to see that we're going to other municipalities, because I remember when the town of the Blue Mountains brought theirs in, and a lot of the people that had existing short-term rentals, i.e. Blue Mountain, that area, they had to have a tertiary means of egress, like they had to put in basement doors, like
Yes.
doors out of the basement and stuff like that. And then it got to be, they got it all streamlined, but they were one of the first ones that I remember doing it. And then Wasaga Beach, of course, stopped all their short-term rentals, and that created quite a stir at one point. So all of these places have had, ironed a lot of the bugs out. So I'm really glad to see that we're going to them with that sort of thing. Also, I just wanted to make honorable mention to Mara Burton. Mara, I haven't had a conversation with our building department, but Mara really had a lot of previous experience with this prior to even coming to Clearview with the short-term rentals, and it just maybe ask her opinion, if just for a little bit more input. But that's all I have to add. But thank you. Thanks for this.
Thank you very much. All right, Paul has a question. Is there other members just looking? Okay, go ahead. Paul.
Thank you, Your Worship. To the clerk, just talk about the MAT program for a second. We in County Council initiated the MAT program this year with Midland. And for basically, it's a accommodation tax, municipal accommodation tax, that is administered jointly between the county and the township. And each of them uses the funding, gets funding, and they refocus it on advertising and promoting our community. So I know we don't have a lot of hotels like Midland does and stuff like that, but it's something that it's going to be something we're going to have to look at coming forward if we do start getting different accommodations, we'll say. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say, Deputy Mayor, that's part of this investigation that we need to do with the public, is to find out where we want to focus any of those funds that we acquire through the MAT program, like where we want to dedicate them. You can dedicate them to just about any area of our municipality, but we have to make that decision arbitrarily as to where it goes before you pass it. So that'll be one of the good questions that we hope to get once we get down the road on this. Good point. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Other members of council with any questions? I'm going to look to Amy. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Short-term accommodations have traditionally been one of those zoning issue concerns for you and your staff. What's your vision on how this is going to play out?
Thank you, Your Worship. We are happy to participate in the exploration of this topic, certainly. The new zoning bylaw, or the zoning bylaw review, will undertake public consultation to see about what's included and to what degree in the new zoning bylaw. It is our vision to see a separate regulatory bylaw handle short-term rentals to ensure that we have the best sort of hammer for enforcement actions. So having said that, however, the new zoning bylaw we would anticipate would work sort of symbiotically with the new licensing or regulatory bylaw for short-term rentals. So, and conveniently, the two processes will sort of track together. So hopefully we get some economies of scale with public engagement in that regard as well. So
Fantastic.
exciting.
Great. Okay. Sasha, we're going to have a bit of work here ahead of us, don't we? Get this done. Well done. Thank you very much. Members of council, if there's nothing further on this one, I have the motion in front of me. Are you prepared to call? All in favor? That carries unanimous again. Thank you. Okay, council, moving over to our bylaw section. I think we only have a few bylaws today. Let's see, the provincial gas tax agreement. Bylaw 2525, be it resolved that bylaw 2525, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a letter of agreement between the corporation of the Township of Clearview and His Majesty the King in Right of the Province of Ontario, as represented by the Ministry of Transportation for the Province of Ontario, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed on the 14th day of April 2025. Looking to Mr. Broderick, seconded by Mr. Beelan. Thank you, sir. You've heard the bylaw. I'll call the bylaw. All in favor? Bylaw carries. Item number bylaw 2527. Amending agreement number 1 to the subdivision pre-servicing and Mowat Street Road Improvement Works Agreement. This is the Estates of Clearview. Recommendation, be it resolved that bylaw 2527, being a bylaw to enter into an amending agreement number 1 to the subdivision pre-servicing and Mowat Street Road Improvement Works Agreement with the Estates of Clearview, Nottawasaga Station Phase 2 for the inclusion of the Lamont Creek realignment works, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed on the 14th day of April 2025. Mr. MacArthur, thank you. Mr. Broderick, thank you. You've heard the bylaw. All those in favor? That bylaw carries unanimous. Thank you so much. Council, we do have item number 12 under new business. I just have an item in here and I'd like to have a discussion with our staff, particularly the Public Works Department and or the CAO. I would like to start with Dan to talk about the ice storm cleanup procedure and processes that are underway. You know, I know the community was very impacted by this ice storm. Interestingly, that because our Clearview Township has some very elevated areas and some very lowland areas, it didn't impact the community across the board, but it impacted a lot of our community when it comes to roads and ice and trees and et cetera. So I'd like to start with Dan. Dan, can you tell us some of our steps that's ongoing right now since the storm is now almost 3 weeks past? How are we doing?
Thank you, Worship. So as of, I believe Friday, all our roads have been open, accessible anyway.
Accessible, yeah.
We were waiting for Bell on one of our roads to remove a wire that they weren't too quick on putting back up. It wasn't broke, but it was laying on the ground. We have our staff and 2 contractors working for us right now, trying to get what had fallen, what had been cut up, moved back away from the travel portion of the road. So that work is ongoing, continuing, more specifically up in the west end, up in the escarpment type areas where it was really a lot of damage. Other than that, you know, we're trying to keep on with some regular maintenance stuff and get that going as well. So we lifted the significant weather event last week as well. So and closed the warming centers and charging centers. Those were closed up last week as well. So we're getting better 3 weeks in. So
all right. Thank you. I know that Chief Davidson is on the line as well. Hello, Chief. Do you have anything you want to add to any of the ice storm cleanup works, or is there anything further that your crews have been tasked with doing this week and going forward in regards to this?
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to council. I just want to express my thanks, Public Works, to our firefighters who were working around the clock for weeks, staffing our warming centers and responding to, I think, storm-related calls were around 70 by the time it was all done. within that week. So it was very busy 24/7, and the dedication we saw was unbelievable. And just watching the community come together and help each other out, made me proud to be here.
Okay. They have been working like crazy. There's no doubt about it. I heard a comment today. Was it 60 calls, or I heard it was at least 50 calls that they took over that weekend. Is that correct?
So between Friday night, late Friday night, and Sunday evening, there was 48 calls for service. And then the days going forward, there's about another 15 to 20 for wires, for public service, helping residents with their basements to avoid any electrical damage or hazards. So it was very busy.
And at the same time, keeping the warming charging centers open during the day so people, so you've had to have those staffed with some of your crews as well. So again, thank you for all the work that you've done as well. I'm not sure if the CAO would like to comment or anybody else. Is there any ongoing works or any costs involved that we may be incurring as a municipality as a result of this? I'm thinking we do have some reserve budget, obviously, in the winter storm event. And so it's a little, John, what do you think? I mean, are we going to be okay with this? Or are we going to need to apply for anything?
I think so, but I won't know that answer until, until all the information comes in. Thank you, Your Worship. I would also suggest that we have debriefed somewhat on how we communicate internally when this happens. This happened on the weekend. As people may know, some of the cell service was down. It was difficult communicating the first few hours. And then we had one of our towers was down as well, and that impacted the fire department. So there's been some discussion with other municipalities as to whether or not we look at getting satellite phones or, and just taking a look at our process. We didn't declare a state of an emergency, but there's still information that I think some of our staff wanted to have. We had some staff that lived in certain areas that had no power. So what are our policies for them, and also for the community? How do we communicate with them? Typically, this was handled by the fire department. They did home checks, and Public Works, I think, did also check with a lot of people. So a lot of that was occurring, but internally, we were not getting that information or even passing it along. Part of this is that we had the Good Roads Conference right in the middle of this, and several counselors and senior people were at that event as well. So these are things that when we debrief, we'll talk about how we can improve them going forward. So we've already started to discuss these matters. So that's about where we are today.
Okay. Well, I've hit on all the high spots. I think the other aspect too is that our recreational facilities, Terry, were without hydro for a little bit, but with the doors closed and the weather being cold, we were not going to lose any ice, but we just didn't use the facility. So we lost the community ability to use facilities. So that's a disappointment. And I know libraries were in a similar situation as well. But members of council, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to bring forward? I know, Paul, you put your hand up already. So Paul, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to talk a bit about what we discussed at Simcoe County, because we are dealing with some of the cleanups and helping across the county. I mean, Oro Medonte got slammed, Aurelia got slammed. You know, I won't say we didn't get, we got ticked a bit compared to what they've got, we're inconvenienced, but they sure got hit hard. So what we talked about at our meeting was the Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance Program. So I just want to make sure our staff is well aware of it. The way the system works is anything over your 3% of your standard tax levy can be applied for in the emergency response program. And it does not have to be done today. It does not have to, because everybody recognizes that our cleanup will be going on for months and months. So just for our staff, please, I'm sure you're all well aware of it, but we have to, we'll watch our costs, and it can extend on into the summer as well. So I hope we take advantage of that if we find that we spent more than that 3% over our standard tax levy.
Yeah, good point. All right. Did you have something, Robert, you want to bring up?
Yeah, I just realized it's Monster's job, and I was just thinking through the mayor to Dan, our seasonal workers, are they finished for the season now, or is there any chance of keeping them on longer? Even though I realize work can probably only be done in daylight hours, but could they be brought on to day shift just to make manpower numbers bigger?
Dan?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Councillor MacArthur. Seasonal positions actually ended on Friday, this past Friday. So we have our summer seasonal position posted right now. I may hand it over to Tammy on the implications of, bringing back more staff or additional staff and how it impacts the union and our contract with them.
All right. Tammy, do you have a comment on that? Tammy, our HR representative?
Thank you, Your Worship, to Councillor MacArthur. There are parameters in our collective agreement that stipulate the season of a seasonal staff member. And so to comply with that collective agreement, our staff have finished. It isn't to say that if the department wishes and has approval, they couldn't ask for additional summer seasonal help. But, I think that's been talked through, and we do have our regular seasonal position posted at this time.
Okay. You good? Thank you. Any other members? All right. So now I ask, what are the next steps? I guess it's over to you, Dan. Do we anticipate this work will go on for weeks or months? What's your feeling on this? And I know we're renting some chippers. So how long is that going to go on?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. It's a very good question.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to ask.
Past experience in other municipality, it varied. We were doing debris cleanup during the tornado and during the ice storm back in 2018. For 3-4 months it took us. So depending on the level, I'm trying to get an answer from the county right now. I know that they have committed to the harder hit areas as far as brush removal from private properties in the Oro Medonte and Rama areas, and see how that may look for us, especially in the western side of the municipality. So I'm investigating that as well. But yeah, we'll go as far as we need to. I think the most important thing is that we're not only opening the road, but also making the roads a bit safer to get that brush cut back as far as we can with the help of some contractors. But this work may be going on for months and even a year, perhaps.
Right.
Slowly, bits at a time.
Okay. Back to our CAO and or our treasurer. Are we comfortable with the funding that we will have available? I mean, this is an unplanned for expense. Are we going to be able to continue to fund this? Is our reserves comfortable with this?
I would say right now we are, but it's something that we have to monitor, and we don't know what the total cost or the length of work will
I
be.
get that. Yeah.
So I'll let Kelly take it from here. She would have a better understanding of what's in the snowstorm reserve and to see what could be accessed from that.
All right, Kelly, do we have to create a new line in the 2026 budget that says spring storm event rather than winter storm event? What do you think?
Thank you, Your Worship. We do have $100,000 in that snow event reserve. We'll be talking at senior management to figure out what the final numbers actually look like. And of course, if we can get funding from the county, fantastic. We may be replenishing that reserve in the 2026 calendar year.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, staff. Council, if there's anything further on this topic, yes, go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, Dan, again, through Your Worship. I just took a drive up 3031 Side Road. Now I realize that wasn't a nice event, but that road did take quite a beating. What's going to be the process there? That's not going to be fixed with $100,000, I don't think.
Yeah, Dan, that's a whole new washout situation up there, I tell you.
Yeah, if there was a perfect ice storm, that was a perfect storm.
Yes, for sure.
So you know, shortly after the ice storm and amongst the cleanup that, that road, had a frost crack in it and just let go on the one side. So, I know we're looking at, having a contractor in there to give us a cost on what it is to take. And I believe, one of our local contractors is out there, digging away, and it's one of those things that we'll have to find the money somewhere. It's probably not you're right. It's probably not $100,000 fix. Probably a lot more than that, but, we're trying to get a sense on that. Other things just happened all at the same time, that we got just crazy amount of rain right that next week. And, you know, we had a storm sewer out here on Main Street that let go. We lost a coupler, and there's a hole in there. Not sure how much that's gonna cost. Like, so it's literally a perfect storm of issues that kind of just all happened within a 1 week period. So
Okay.
we're trying to respond the best we can. We do have a contractor, out here. I think they opened it up today. So, we'll see what that entails, but we're aware of that, and we try to repair it as best we can and repair the base. The base failed, basically. It got oversaturated and just slipped, down the bank. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone, for this good discussion. I do have another group of people that we do need to acknowledge, though, that we haven't spoken about. And let's just acknowledge the fantastic work of the electrical lines people who worked with, you know, the Ontario Hydro teams, but also all of their partners showed up from all over the province. I don't know if we had out of province people working in our town, but I did see some trucks that didn't have Ontario Hydro logos on them. So I'm not sure just where they were from, but in New Brunswick was, but not sure, were they here in Clearview? Aurelia they were for sure, but I know I saw some trucks here that were from another municipal electrical service, but they weren't, you know, I didn't recognize them nevertheless. And thank you to the Recreation Department for making the parking lot available over here for the hydro poles. And I guess that's going to be there for a little while, then that's fine. But we've got to make sure that that's open up for our music market and park it. I'm sure that those guys will be happy to have those poles out of there by then, right? Okay. Thank you for the good discussion on this. I would ask through you, the CAO, that if there's any updates or any information that you can share with us as a council and for the community's benefit about this ice storm cleanup, if there's any changes to the finances or there's any changes to the manpower or the workforce changes, please let us know, and be happy to keep updated on that. All right, thank you. Council, at this time, we'll go straight to our confirmatory bylaw. Be resolved, the bylaw 2528, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the April 14, 2025 council meeting, be presented and read a first, second, and third time, finally passed 14th day of April 2025. Can I get Deneen? Thank you. And MacArthur? Thank you. All right. All those in favor? Confirmatory bylaw carries. Motion to adjourn 7:05. 7:05 p.m. Deputy Mayor? Thank you. Mr. Beelan? Thank you. And we'll consider this council meeting adjourned. Everybody have a terrific day. I hope spring is finally here. Don't say that. Spring is supposed to be